Good morning, everybody, and happy Monday to you. Hope everybody had a great weekend. We sure did, with a lot of good sports action, a lot of NBA playoffs action, a little bit of MLB sprinkled in between there. And, of course, we are gearing up for the NHL Playoffs, which is one of my most favorite playoffs that there is. As always, I'm your host, Tyson, TRL Business Time. With me, and a little moody today, my good friend Jeffrey off of the Schneid. Jeffrey, how's it going over there, buddy?
Moody today. What do you mean? I got my Orlando City sweater on. You know, they came off a big win, 2 goals late in the match. Big W against Minnesota. Former coach Adrian Heath, a little upset. You know, it's good to see. Good to see from the boys. And listen, am I moody? I mean, I don't know. I don't even know how to describe that. As a man, am I moody? You know, I'm not as moody as you were yesterday. If we're gonna, let's get into it right now.
Let's get into it.
I said this a few weeks ago. I said we're co-owning a fantasy baseball team together, and I give it a month before you say, I don't want to do this anymore. Just take it over. And it lasted about 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
And
well, do you want to know the premise for behind that? Is I sent out a text earlier. I said, hey, to make this easier, why don't you take all of the batters and position players? I'll take all of the pitchers, and we'll just tag team. We'll just do it that way. That way, you know, I'll be on the pitchers, you'll be on the position players, and we each have a focus so we don't miss anything. Well, then lo and behold, 2 days later, hey, I just picked up 4 pitchers and dropped, these pitchers. And I'm just like, you
Wait, you picked up Jose. You picked up Jose Barrios, who had just thrown the day before, who was not going to pitch for another week, and is now day to day.
We're not winning that. We're not winning this week. We were never going to win this week.
We
would have won. We actually would have won if you would have started the pitcher that you picked up and then left him on the bench for 25 points.
Well, that was a different scenario that happened. With a different kid. But that's semantics. I'm talking about yesterday. We came into the day. We were down 30 points to Sean Munson. All right? We had a shot, but he had Garrett Cole going. He had, who else? He had Cease going from the White Sox, and he had a third starting pitcher.
We were dead in the water.
Listen, we need to give ourselves a puncher's chance here. So what do? We picked
who said I wasn't going to pick up pitchers this morning? Who said I wasn't going to pick up pitchers yesterday?
We were T-minus 45 minutes from you having to pick them up. There was only a certain handful of pitchers we could have picked up.
Well, maybe I'm looking for maybe I'm analyzing perfect matchups at the point. Maybe I'm looking to see what type of advantage these pitchers can give us in our last scenario, our last fighting chance to do the research to ensure that we have the best opportunity available. In the middle of said research, I get hey, by the way, I dropped these people. Oh, by the way, I dropped one of our best pitchers. By the way, hopefully we can get him, we can pick him back up.
First of all, Giolito has been terrible this year.
We're 2 weeks into it. Just like somebody dropped Yu Darvish. How do you drop Yu Darvish after 2 starts?
There's only 8 teams. It's not like it's, super deep and, you got to hold on.
It is in pitching.
You got to just kind of like rotate, I feel like,
How many years have you played fantasy baseball?
The other
I just want, for the record, how many years have you played fantasy baseball?
The other issue that I had too was that yes, I did pick them up, but it's because you were live texting the golf tournament all weekend long. All weekend long, you're live texting about the golf tournament and Matthew Fitzpatrick.
You're absolutely right.
For your win. Great job on the win this week.
Thank you.
You took down the pool.
The funny thing that you bring that up again, because apparently we're just going to bust balls all morning, is that you're like, oh, funny that, you're talking about golf this weekend. Oh, look at the leaderboard. Well, there was a point in time when I was second to last on that leaderboard, my friend. Now, of course, that was before my guys actually teed off that day, of course. But if you recall, on the last podcast / show, I said, or no, I actually wasn't on that. I think it was on via the text group. I said, what is this with ESPN? We have wire-to-wire coverage, and Paul pointed out that ESPN now covers the PGA from start to finish. And I said, wow. So as somebody that has a little bit of free time on their hands during the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday episodes, obviously I watched. So yes, I did. I was very in tune to what was going on. And yes, my dark horse, Mr. Fitzpatrick, came through. Shout out to the Fitzpatrick boys. You can never go wrong with the Fitzpatrick. And, of course, the rest, as they say, is history. So, We'll see.
Yeah, I've already been texted with one of the Fitzpatricks this morning. So big shout out to
What they doing
Marky
it? They doing a
Mark.
trade between themselves again? Oh no,
No, I mean
I know what you're talking about.
we're playing Mark this week in fantasy. He was just wishing me good luck.
Yeah.
Because we're gonna need it because his team is ridiculous. That's the
Yeah.
other thing too. You know, I realized this. I was talking to TJ the other day. He was telling me about how much of an advantage it is because they go into work every day and they all just talk shop all day at work. You know what I mean? Like I'm not in that setting anymore. I'm not like I don't know.
You have Ian.
Who?
Ian, Mr. Baseball.
Oh yeah, Mr. Baseball. I tried to get him on the show today. By the way, coming off a big weekend for himself. It was his wife's birthday this weekend. Big Taylor Swift concert, if you didn't know, out in Tampa. Sold out all 3 nights in a row, almost 80,000 people every single night. Incredible. The funniest part to me is, as somebody who was dreading going to this concert for the past 2 months that he said, right? I can't believe I got to go to this, blah, blah, blah. And then the text messages that we get. Man, boys, I tell you what, there's nothing like feeling 80,000 plus just singing these songs all together. It's really an unbelievable moment. I hope you guys experience this sometime in your life. What?
He's a Swiftie, bro. She will win you over. He's a Swiftie.
Oh my gosh,
bro. T Swift Nation is sweeping the world, and if you're not on board, bro, you're gonna get ran over. Just get on board.
I'm surprised your wife didn't want to go.
She is not a Swiftie. She is not a Swiftie.
Not a Swiftie. Wow.
No.
Okay. So
no, she's definitely not a Swiftie. She's
team Selena. Is that what it is? No.
Nah, she's Team Disney. She likes to work. It's just she can go on vacation.
Disney. Okay, gotcha.
This just in, breaking news off the wire. We're gonna break our fun little back and forth ball busting here with a little bit of breaking news. Apparently, Jalen Hurts signs a 5-year, $255 million extension with $179.304 million guaranteed. Thank you for that extrapolating number there. I appreciate that. 110 million guaranteed at signing, 126.5 guaranteed before year 2, and a 23.3. We're just gonna round that, dude.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. So you're telling me that Lamar Jackson didn't get offered this?
I don't know. That's crazy.
I think
that's a lot of money. Initial reaction is that's a lot of money, and they needed to be as good as they were in other supplemental spots as they were this year. He needs a really good supporting cast around him to be able to compete and do well. I think this might hinder that a little bit.
I think that's I mean, real quick,
go get your bag.
Justice, this man Ian couldn't join the call, but is playing Call of Duty with me. Yes, that is.
I know. We know.
I mean, he likes. He just doesn't like the spotlight like T Swift.
Actually,
he's more of a backstage guy.
Yeah. I called Ian. I said, hey, can you come on and talk a little bit about the Commanders sale? And, hockey playoffs are starting today. We'd love to have you on. We know you're very knowledgeable about this. And he goes, yeah, no.
Yeah, and of course he's he also texts on the group text while we're going. But let's break this down real quick here.
Jalen Hurts, man, a lot of money.
We got one good year, right?
Yeah, well, 2.
I mean, outstanding. One outstanding year. Like, he had a great year last year. Let's not discredit that. But wow.
What pick do they have in the draft?
I have no idea. They have a good pick though. I would say top 12.
110 mil guaranteed at signing. That's a lot.
179 million guaranteed over the course. So I mean, we're only talking about leaving 75 million on the table here. Just chump change for a guy like that. But wow, deal was negotiated from Clutch Sports Group. See an agent works. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, Jeremy. They have the 30th. I thought they had an earlier first round pick from a trade. Maybe they gave that up. Anyway, whatever. Congratulations, Jalen Hurts and the Eagles.
They have New Orleans first round pick, I believe.
I thought so too. Our producer's drunk this morning. He's had a rough weekend.
I could see them going 10th. After 10th. Yeah, man, who falls in that range right there?
A lot of people can.
I'm just thinking from like a number standpoint, right? Because you can't pay a running back at all. right? So you're thinking
Could have Bijan
maybe
Robinson probably right
Bijan
there.
Robinson right there.
Yeah.
Maybe keep your line intact and then just kind of. I'm trying to think from a GM point of view. How do you finagle this
I think
to make it happen?
at 10, if they get Bijan Robinson as well, wow.
Yeah, Bijan at 10, and then maybe you just go D line after that. Load up on D line and
they
on
did they
DBs.
did lose a lot of people off that defensive side, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, 100%. I don't even think I think Fletcher Cox is still a free agent if I'm not mistaken, as well too has yet to be signed. So
what year is Jalen Hurts in his rookie contract? This is fourth year.
This is going to be his fourth year. Yeah, wow. I guess the Burrow deal's got to get done now too this year. You know, you can't leave Joey B out there flailing in the wind and not lock him up long term.
Who gets more money, Jalen Hurts or Joey B?
It's a great question. I don't know. I mean, does Joey B really want to keep T. Higgins? Would be my question. You know,
I think that's a great point. I mean, honestly, this is $51 million a year. It's not excessive. It's not Aaron Rodgers, $60 million. But I
51. I mean,
well, $8 million. That we see people getting cut all the time to save $8 million or $5 million in cap. So I mean, I think that adds up. But to your point, I'm really curious to see what Joey B does because there are quarterbacks out there that don't want to get the max dollar. I mean, I think
Tom Brady did it his whole career.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, but when you got your wife that's making more money than you anyway, I mean, who? Yeah. Well, let's get back on track here. Thank you, Jeremy, for that drunken tweet there, letting us know what's going on. We're not doing it, Jason. We're off of it. We're not getting into Mel Kiper and his draft. All right, so let's talk about some NBA action. So after the show on Friday, we saw some disappointing basketball out of my Bulls. The Bulls did fall 91-102 to the Heat. We talked about the game before, how they came alive in the fourth quarter, and if that was the team that showed up, that they were going to be able to be dominant, and that team didn't show up the entire game. They just looked stale out there. They did really look like they wanted to be there, to be 100% honest with you. It looked like they were ready to pack it up. I know that you're going to fillet me for this, but to me, you said Vucevic was going to be one of the biggest keys to this game, and he had to have a big game in order for them to win. And in my opinion, he shrunk up and he went away. Down the stretch, Andre Drummond was in there. He was playing with excitement. He was jumping around. When Vooch had 12 points, 9 rebounds, and 1 assist over, I believe, 34 minutes. Andre Drummond, 10 minutes, 6 points, 8 rebounds. And what was really odd to me is that group that came in with Kobe White that had 31, 14, and 5. When they were in there, they made that run, and they got the team back in the game. And then immediately down the stretch, Billy Donovan was like, nah, we're getting too close. I'm going to put Vooch back in. Drummond, you're out. And then look what happened. The Heat just ran away with it at that point. Even watching the press conferences from the guys after the game, talking about their future, Vooch just doesn't want to be there, and that's fine. But what I saw at the end of that, I mean, that has to look out to other NBA teams. Other NBA teams have to see that. And like I said, he had a couple good shots, but I mean, you don't need to be the scorer at the big for that team. You have Zach LaVine, who also didn't have a good game. You have DeRozan. You have Caruso. There's other people that can score, move the ball around you, but you got to rebound. And I see it in a lot of these games, and it really just pisses me off. Nobody crashes the boards anymore. Nobody goes out. As soon as the shot's in the air, half the team's already down on the other side of the court regardless. And the teams that you do see fighting for the ball, the Heat were fighting for the ball. We're going to get into the Clippers a little bit later. They were fighting for the ball. To me, it was just a very disappointing end. Obviously, I got sucked back in. My expectations became a little bit higher due to my good friend over here continuing to talk to me about how they can, how they could do something. But once again, that team showed its true colors. It was 4 quarters of the same stuff that we saw the entire year. There was no special quarter. Hats off to the Miami Heat and Jimmy Butler, who absolutely just balled out and took over that game. And what's the other guy that hit like 8 3-pointers in a row? I mean, like
Max Strus.
That guy was just out of his mind. But kudos to them. They did go on. We are going to talk to them a little bit later. But your snap off the Bulls exit.
Yeah, it was a very disappointing one. I kept on looking at the scoreboard in the first half. Strus is going crazy, and nobody's really playing well for the Bulls. And I keep on looking up, and I'm like, it's only a 3 or 4 point game. Like, this is a very exciting thing. Like, this guy's going nuts. They're making everything and from everywhere in the building, and you're only down a few points. And then we saw that middle of the third quarter to the middle of the fourth quarter, the Bulls really went on that tear right there. A lot of energy, a lot of excitement. You're right. Vucevic just kind of shrunk up. And there was a lot of moments. It was tough. Stan Van was a tough listen as well too. We're going to be honest about the color commentary that he was providing as well. The officiating was a little.
Officiating was garbage.
Right? I mean,
it was garbage both ways. Unfortunately,
18 more free throws than the Bulls. The Heat did, and they knocked them down. So. Listen, Vooch shrunk up in the moment. I said that he was going to be a big reason. If the Bulls won, that was going to be a Vucevic thing. In both games, he did not really show up. They got through it in the first one because Zach LaVine went absolutely ham. And in this game against the Heat, Zach LaVine was kind of non-existent. Zach LaVine, I think, too much falls in love with his outside jump shot, which we're going to talk about Anthony Edwards in a little bit. It's another argument that I have with him. You guys, you're so athletic, right? You once you turn the corner and you get downhill, it's a guaranteed either foul or it's a guaranteed layup or a dunk. Take the ball to the rim every single time, put pressure on the defense, make them collapse. If they do, then you kick it open to a wide open shooter and they knock it down. But the Bulls kind of got away from what they were doing so well, and it turned into a DeMar DeRozan ISO game, which is. Listen, DeMar played great. I mean, he hit some of those key and ones, but it's so weird with DeMar too. He likes the guy right up on him when he's going up to shoot to draw the contact, which is very interesting. But listen, yeah, Strus hits those big threes. The Bulls are up 5 points with 3 minutes left in the game, and you're like, okay, we're fine. Like, we're locked in. I'm looking at my spread bet, like that's a lock. There's no way that doesn't hit. All of a sudden, the Heat going like a 16-1 run, and the rest is history. But yeah, I mean, you get caught up in that moment. It was funny because the fourth quarter was about the time the Heat fans actually showed up to the arena before their dinner reservations downtown, or before they went and hit 11, which is right around the corner from the American Airlines Arena.
Not the American Airlines Arena anymore, though.
No.
I don't know. I can't remember. But yeah, to your point, Zach LaVine, 41 minutes, 6 for 21 from the field, and only 15 points. DeRozan, 40 minutes, 26 points, 9 for 19 from the field. But like you said,
what do they shoot from three? What do the Bulls shoot from three? 28, 29% again, right?
It's horrible. I see a lot of zeros.
28 or 29%. I mean, listen, and we say that Kobe White was great. I mean,
31 minutes, 14 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists. I mean, he was
the electricity they needed too.
Hit a bunch of clutch threes. That's what I didn't understand. You had Kobe White out there who had great energy, hit the threes. You had Andre Drummond that was playing his butt off. Shout out to you, my man. You came in, you took your moment that you had, and you made a severe impact. And to me, I don't see why you go away from that. I think you leave Kobe White out there. I think you leave Drummond out there. Vooch at that point had done nothing, and we've seen it. We saw it the entire game. So Billy Donovan, I'm baffled about why you thought you should put him back in there. Drummond was getting the rebounds. We were getting more offensive possessions by his offensive rebounding, which nobody else was doing. You look at the entire rebounds for the entire team. It's like 25 rebounds for the entire game. It was absolutely putrid. Then, you go into the offseason, the GMs already talking about, well, we're not even looking at a complete teardown or anything. We're going to evaluate everything. And my God, I mean, I don't know what you do at this point. I really don't.
I think LaVine's gone. I think Vooch is gone. DeRozan's probably gone.
Zach LaVine's going to be hard to get rid of because he's got a supermax.
Somebody will take him.
I don't know. And then
he's a talented kid with a jump shot and can jump out of the building. I mean,
DeRozan wants a supermax.
Lamar.
Yeah, he wants a supermax. And before we get to it, speaking of supermax, who also wants a supermax is Klay Thompson. Yeah, we'll get into that a little bit. But anyway, moving on from that one, like I said, just a poor performance. The Bulls are out. Heat move on. Then we had the Thunder, the T-Wolves. There's really nothing much to go on here. I mean, that was
exactly how we thought the game would go.
Complete blowout. Towns with 28 points. It was a beatdown from the beginning. Then moving on to Saturday, where we actually start our playoffs. We started off with the Nets and the 76ers. And, I was really surprised by some of the national commentators and their take on this series, saying that a lot of people are picking Brooklyn here. And, we saw what we saw all year. The 76ers just completely dominated. James Harden balled out of his mind. Embiid did what Embiid did. This game was never close. It was over before it started. And I really am baffled about what they thought that they saw in the Nets. They do have a lot of young talent, but this is their first playoff game. Maybe they bounce back after they got one under their belt. Maybe the nerves are calmed down a little bit, but I don't see it. I actually changed my prediction in the NBA bracket. I got the 76ers sweeping the Nets now.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they might get a gentleman's sweep here. Brooklyn might get Game 3 at home. That's about all I could see happening there. But yeah, I mean, listen, Embiid is on a mission, and that's one of the reasons that I thought that like Philly will come out of this East is because and now I'm sure we'll get to some of the things that happened as well too. But now you start looking at the East and you're like, man, it's not as locked up as we thought it was. Even moving on to the very next game that we had in terms of the Hawks and the Celtics, right? Like Boston, right, was up. Boston wins the game 112-99. And we thought Atlanta would be able to compete a little bit. There's a moment I looked up. Atlanta was down by 30 points at one point, and it looks fine because it looks like they lost by 13. But this game was not anywhere close to being 13 points. Atlanta was getting curb stomped, American History X style out there, and then made a little run at the very end. What? You seen the movie? You know the scene I'm talking about.
This is a very graphic scene. That's what I'm reacting to. I'm reacting to the graphicness of what just happened. And yes, so moving on to the Hawks-Celtics game, it did end up 99-112, but this game was never close. As you said, the Celtics were up 30. They were toying with them. Yes, it got a little bit closer at the end. That's just because of subs and the way that you play the game. But that was a complete blowout. Again, I have the Celtics on. I changed my pick here again. Celtics are sweeping the Hawks. They're Quinn Snyder's done a lot of good things, but Boston, I do believe, is the only team out there that can give the Bucks a little bit of trouble here. I do have the Boston moving on after from the 76ers as well, but we'll get into that later. But yes, just another complete blowout there. Moving into some other interesting. The Knicks-Cavs game. We had the Knicks 101, the Cavs 97, and this was a great, great game. There was a lot of action in this game. You look at the points, you can say, well, it's only 100 points. It was action the whole game. It was a lot of movement, a lot of fouls, though. But the Knicks had absolutely no answer for Mitchell whatsoever. You a little bit surprised here?
I thought that Cleveland would be able to win it, especially at home. The Knicks just played great defense, which they have. Jalen Brunson was really a force to be reckoned with. This is going to be one of those series that is going to come down to 7 games. I firmly believe that. And it'll be Spider Mitchell with the ball, Jalen Brunson with the ball, last minute and a half. Who's going to make a shot, who's going to step up, and who's going to make the right basketball play as well, too. Maybe kick it to an open guy to make the shot. If I'm looking at it just from like a quick synopsis point of view, can Jalen Brunson repeat 27 points every single night? Maybe, maybe not. Julius Randle will probably play better, but he does have some tough matchups there as well, too, when it comes to Mobley being on him, as well as Allen. I think when you look at the Cavs' point of view, they need some other guys to step up. Karis LeVert, you're a scorer. You need to step up. You need to hit some shots. 1 of 7 from the field is not going to cut it. 0 of 3 from three-point land. I don't know. Maybe it's Darius Garland. I feel like this series is going to be the exact same score every single game. Who wins in the last 2 minutes of the game every single time?
And that's all you could really ask for of NBA playoff basketball. That's what we all want to see, right? As you commented, who is we? We as the sports fans that just want to see a good game. Want to see it played out, want to see a tight contested game. As Jeremy said, we did have Josh Hart. Josh Hart came off the bench with 32 minutes though, 17 points, 10 rebounds, and 2 assists. Can he, repeat that as well? I mean, that's going to be a big one as well. But
he made the big 3 at the end as well too. That was a big trade they made mid-season. Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart obviously played together at Villanova, so they brought that connection in to have the backcourt that they have now. And a lot of times it's not about who starts the game; it's about who finishes the game as well. And they have enough trust in Josh Hart to leave him out there over a guy like R.J. Barrett. So.
Well, I mean, looking at just the minutes, there's only one person that played more minutes, and that was Randall. So, I mean, they must have a lot of trust in him. So the next game, we had the Warriors against the Kings. And if you didn't get a chance to watch this game was absolutely electric. The fans showed up on this game, not like Miami. They didn't show up in the third quarter. They showed up an hour before the game. They were rip-roaring ready to go. That place was loud. It was exciting. Watching each possession go back and forth, it was amazing. You know, watching the guys, the amount of talent that was on that court during that game, to me, was absolutely insane. Watching Steph hitting some of the shots that he hits, it's the Kings did end up winning 126-123. You know, Fox was just absolutely unstoppable for the Kings. He was everywhere, and you know, this we talked about this series. I think I had. Did I take Sacramento here? Did I take Sacramento?
I think you might have. I'm not sure. I know I did not take
Sacramento. I know you did not take Sacramento, and I know Jeremy didn't
Correct.
take him because you guys have both had him go in the finals. Now,
Correct.
But you also did point out that it's the first on the road. We kind of expect Golden State because obviously Golden State is not good on the road. But
Correct.
I thought that Golden State had a real good chance to win this game. And Sacramento just outplayed them at the end. But kudos to them. But, I mean, obviously I know you got some takes on this one. But what are your thoughts on this one?
I do find it very interesting. We both wore purple today, you know, in support. There is game 2 tonight, which is going to be, to me, an incredible game tonight, game 2, tipping off on, I think, TNT or whatever it is. But to get back to this specific game, very back and forth. We thought, you know, Golden State going on the road, you're playing game 1. Sacramento hasn't had a playoff game at home in like 17 years or something like that. They are lighting the beam. Everybody's fired up, going crazy, maybe going a little bit too far in some certain scenarios. You know, they did get E40 kicked out of the game as he was courtside. I don't know if you saw about that. That happened. I guess E40's front row. You know, a huge diehard Warriors fan. His entire life, he's out there. I guess he was being chirped a little bit during the game, being told to sit down, maybe not so in such nice terms. The very end, there were some things that were said to him he didn't appreciate. He turned around to say something to the person who was saying it to them, which I guess was a white lady who was sitting behind him, and security immediately came up and roped him up and got him out of there, and he, you know, felt some type of way about that. So that's a little added edge to the game as well, too. The guy trolling Steph on the sideline, as soon as Steph missed the 3 to tie the game, the fan all up in his face, you know, saying, you know, Fox just dropped 40 on you and so on and so forth. I will say this. Kudos to the Kings for winning that game. Do not let the Warriors beat you tonight. The Warriors beat you tonight. They leave town with a 1-1 split, which is all they need, because then all they have to do is win their home games, right? Which they've been phenomenal at home this year. They've been abysmal on the road. I thought the fact that the game was so close, if you are a Warriors backer like I am, is a really, really good sign as well, too. Because the Warriors could have won that game in that hostile environment with Fox going off for 38, with Malik Monk going off for 32, playing out of their you-know-what minds. For them to be in that game and have a chance there and just come up barely short, I think they're going to see a highly motivated Warriors team tonight. I will tell you the Warriors absolutely win this game tonight, and I think they go on a tear here. They win this game, I think they're going to win 3 in a row. Maybe, I could see maybe getting one more game and it could go 6, but I am more confident now than I was before that the Warriors win this series.
You heard it here, folks. Take Sacramento. You heard it here first. So, was Julio Jones at this game too?
I have no clue.
I'm pretty sure Julio Jones was sitting courtside. Now, you mentioned something about a white lady. I know she made a specific reference to her race. Was she yelling racial tones or something?
E40 was upset. He claimed racial bias on it because he said that all the security saw was him talking to a white lady, and they immediately took the white lady's side. Without him ever being warned, he was never told to sit down. There was nothing that was ever said to him, and so I mean he felt some type of way about it. He felt it was racially motivated.
Racially motivated. We have no context of what was said whatsoever. Correct?
It was something was said enough for him to. I've never seen E40 upset like that ever.
Well, if I call somebody I go sit down, you bitch. I mean, I'm gonna turn around. I'm gonna turn around and look who said it, right? I mean,
well, if you were talking to a woman, absolutely, then it's absolutely derogatory.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But if that was me talking to you as well, you would turn around and be like, "Who has the gumption to be calling me this?" Right?
What do I care? And what does E40 care? I'm sure.
Well, obviously he cared.
All types of things.
So
He's been on the like every game with them for the past however many years on the road. I'm sure this is not the first time that he's been yelled at. Like,
that's what I'm trying to say.
That he's reacted like this.
But that's my point. Is this is the first time he's reacted like that? So I'm just curious of what was said. That's all.
No clue.
Yeah.
No clue.
Well, we're just gonna go racial tones then. Yeah,
I'm not saying that's what it was. I'm saying that's what he was upset about. And if you read the story, there was a big story about it as well too. I'm just doing my due diligence here and reporting the facts.
Thank you for including the racially divided facts. The rapper issued a statement telling his side of the events, explaining that after being subjected to disrespectful heckling throughout the game, in the fourth quarter, he turned around and addressed one heckler in an assertive but polite manner. I see no wrong here. I see no wrong from either one. I mean, this is what sports are. You walk into a hostile environment. I've been into many hostile environments as a Cubs fan, as a Bulls fan, as a Blackhawks fan. I'll never forget in Tampa, being heckled because, when we went to the Stanley Cup playoffs. I think it was actually the finals. We went back and I was sitting on the glass and I was 2 rows back, I do believe. And I was standing. No, we were on the corner. But this was a different game. I was standing up, and because the Blackhawks were shooting a goal at the net right in front of me, and all kinds of heckles coming from behind me. Sit down, you bleep bleep bleep. Sit down.
That was the one we went to together.
Probably. Right?
Yeah.
And we're to where I turned around and said, if you don't like it, you should have bought a closer seat. I mean. And we went around and had our day, right? So, I mean, it's part of the game. I just, the fact of right here, we just said disrespectful heckling, that's probably, I don't see anything racially there. It just amazes me that, when you said that, he said, well, he felt that it was because he's black and she's white. It just, maybe it is. I don't know, man. It's just
he said.
Well, I know, but he doesn't say it in his statement. That's what I'm saying. It just sucks that we have people that have to feel a certain kind of way, regardless of what's happened to them or whatever. I don't know, but regardless, it sucks. I see no wrong. He has a right to turn around and heckle right back. I mean, there's no wrong in that whatsoever. Why he was escorted is beyond me. But I did see Julio Jones and some girl.
Wonderful.
Unfortunately, it was yet another reminder that despite my success and accolades as a musician and entrepreneur, racial bias remains prevalent. Security saw a disagreement between a black man and a white woman and immediately assumed that I was at fault. Now, to me, to me, this also seems like first class stuff, right? Like when you look at the Wolf of Wall Street, luckily we're in first class, we can do whatever we want type stuff. The guy that's on the court side should always be favored, in my opinion. He's the one spending $20,000 for a ticket. I mean, if we want to talk about racial class, let's talk about social economic class. This guy pays more, has contributed more to this game than that person. So why wouldn't they go over there as well? I don't know.
It was just a bad look. Like Iguodala had to come off the Warriors bench to like calm E40 down and like escort him off the court. You know what I mean? So it was just
once the security got involved, yeah, I'm sure.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. Iguodala came and stepped in between security and E40 and was like, "Yo, listen, he's with us. We got him. We're walking through the tunnel. We're going to the locker room real quick." Blah blah blah. So it was just a bad look all around. But I look, Kings fans are excited. They haven't been there in a long time.
Long time.
Let's be careful. Don't poke the bear.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to upset the Golden State Warriors.
Poke the bear, dude. Especially when they're healthy. And they had a chance to win, dude. If Wiggins hits that 3, they're down 1. Klay Thompson has a wide open layup. Instead, the play was designed to kick it to Wiggins, so he kicks it to Wiggins, who is wide open in the corner. Nobody within 10 to 15 feet of him, and he just misses the shot. So, and then they still have a chance to go back and tie anyway. So
Warriors are actually favored tonight.
Yeah, they should be.
Give me the Kings, baby. Give me the Kings. Crown them. Take LeBron over there and crown him. So
let's make a friendly let's figure out a friendly bet on it.
I couldn't hear you because your stream's lagging in and out. Moving on to Sunday. Moving on to Sunday, we have the Lakers Grizzlies. Lakers end up winning 128-112. It was closer than that. Reeves is just out of his mind, dude. Out of his mind. I thought the best part was the commentators talking about how he's running down the court yelling, "I am him," with LeBron James on the court next to him. It was a really good scene, man, to see the confidence in that young man being able to chuck up. LeBron didn't have to do much in this game. And he did what he needed to do. He had some early turnovers, which cost, a few things. I think he had probably 4 or 5 turnovers, but he didn't have to do much. Anthony Davis did his part. This was a great team effort, in my opinion, by the Los Angeles Lakers. That, they got it done. Bottom line. And like I said, LeBron didn't have to take over the game. I felt like he was supported well by his teammates. Anthony Davis, again, showing up. It was a little where he went out there towards the end of the first half, said he couldn't move his arm. And then I don't know if he put the soccer spray on in the locker room, but he came out, that thing's loosey-goosey. He's popping, shots from everywhere. He's doing what he needs to do. I need to get some of that soccer spray stuff, because apparently it heals everything. So what are your thoughts on your GOAT in the league show?
I thought it was my GOAT. I think it's first and foremost, it starts with Rui Hachimura. The way that he came off the bench in that third quarter and just banged down threes left and right, really, set the tone. After the Lakers had the lead in the first half, the Grizzlies storm all the way back. Story of this game, though, is going to be Ja Morant, and his health and how he does going forward. But I thought it was an incredibly balanced effort. I think this is what we're going to see from the Lakers. Even with D'Angelo Russell, he didn't have a great night. 3 of 9 from three-pointer, 7 of 17 from the field, but he still pours in 19 points, still plus 20 on the plus-minus for you as well, too. AD doing AD things, missed some time, but 22 points. LeBron doesn't have to do a lot with 20, but Rui comes off the bench, 29 points for him was really the story there. This series, if Ja misses the next game, which it looks like he will, right? They're saying what's the story with Ja? Do you know what the injury is?
I haven't got the report yet. Jeremy, can you see if you can find that for us real quick, please?
Yeah, if Ja's going to miss significant time, it's going to be a very, very tough series for the Grizzlies. It was going to be a tough series already without Steven Adams being able to control the paint. And now if you miss Ja Morant, that's going to be tough.
Jeremy, we know it's a hand injury, buddy. We're looking.
I don't know if he broke his. I know Tyler. Well, we'll get to Tyler Hero in about 60 seconds. But anyway, if Ja misses significant time, this series is over. The Lakers move on as we suspected, and we'll play the Golden State Warriors next round.
He does have 2 days before the next game, though. The Lakers and the Grizzlies don't play again until Wednesday. So to me, it looked like a very severe sprain, which if you've had a severe sprain or something of that nature, it gets worse as the time goes on. It actually doesn't get better.
It sucks. God works in mysterious ways, and sometimes, he wants you to put down the gun over there, Ja, so, ugh.
Oh, my God. I cannot believe you just put a God and gun reference in there. Jesus. Oh my goodness.
Guns and country.
Only 20 more minutes to go, folks. Only 20 more minutes to go. I agree. If John's not able to go, that completely hinders this team. But if he does come back, which I think he will, I think that he's going to do, especially from the time off that he missed this season, I think that he feels that he owes that to the team, that he will try to be back if it's all possible. I think if he does miss the one game, I think that does obviously hinder it going down 0-2, but I'm not counting them out yet. We could see Grizz in 7, but again, it just depends if they come back. One of the biggest upsets over the weekend was the Heat-Bucks game. The Heat 130 versus the Bucks 117. Of course, the big story here, there's 2 big stories here, but the Giannis injury going out in the first quarter doesn't look good. I don't know, man. There's just so many injuries now. Now, obviously, the Tyler Hero and the John, that's something. These guys are flying through the air. But Giannis hit down on his back there. I don't know. Back injuries are very, very bad. But, are the Bucks in trouble here?
I don't know. I didn't get to watch any of this game, unfortunately, because I was at work getting absolutely destroyed. But, it looks like the first quarter happened, and that was pretty much it from there. Just kind of sustained the rest of the way once you get that lead on Milwaukee. I did see Milwaukee made a run. I thought it was kind of a close game toward the end. Jimmy Butler just goes absolutely crazy. Kudos to the Heat, man. I tell you what, I talked a lot of smack about y'all, and you're making me eat my words. And congratulations to you guys. You showed up, you played hard. I thought this is a guaranteed sweep. If you would have given me odds, I probably would have laid even money on the Bucks winning 4-0 in this series. So,
Well,
kudos to you guys.
also, Giannis going out in the first quarter is a huge deal here.
Yeah, obviously, and it's also mentally, how do you go forward? You have to just block that out though and play ball. And the Bucks are incredibly deep, so like if obviously you never want to lose Giannis, right? 11 minutes for Giannis, 6 points. That's just you can't do that. But you can supplement that with a lot of guys who come off that bench, man. Ingles, Matthews, Bobby Portis, Jay Crowder, Grayson Allen, Drew Holiday, Brooke Lopez, Chris Middleton. These guys all got to step up. And if you give me just that team, I think they can compete with Miami. Giannis is obviously the icing on the cake. So this series is going to be very interesting. Very interesting. Like,
I don't
Tyler
think
Hero
so.
missing time, whatever. You know what I mean? Like Strus can kind of play that role a little bit. But Giannis, if Giannis is out significantly, it's going to be really, really tough. So
I agree with the Tyler Hero thing. To me, he is a good player, but he's not a severely impactful player for the Heat. Just watching, the past few games, the playing games, he hasn't had a huge impact. I remember him from the playoffs, when we had the scowl and he was draining threes from all over the place. I don't see any of that anymore from him. I don't know if he's just lost confidence or what, but him going out, I don't think is a huge thing for the Heat. Obviously, Giannis is going to be a big part, but I think again, the Bucks just don't play very well. Game ones, they're 5-7 under game ones under Mike Boldenholzer. They've lost the game one in the last, the last 3 rounds. So I mean, if you're a Bucks fan, I don't think you're really worried about too much if Giannis comes back. But I think he will. And honestly, I might give Miami one other game in this, but Bucks in 6, I would say easily.
we'll see how much time Giannis misses.
We shall see. The matchup that we were really, really looking forward to, the Clippers versus the Suns, and it did not disappoint. The Clippers, to me, without Paul George, were playing amazing. Kawhi Leonard just completely took over. Russell Westbrook, now, the guy can't shoot. Let's just say that. The guy cannot shoot. He is, to be an NBA player, my goodness, he cannot shoot. As soon as that ball goes up, it's not about if it's going to go in. It's how far is the rebound going to go away from the cylinder? Is it going to be a complete brick? Are we going to catch some rim here? I don't know. But he was such a pest in that game. And to me, the last 5 minutes of that game, the reason why the Clippers were able to pull away and take it over was completely on Russell Westbrook. He made some amazing plays on Devin Booker, the block at the end, and then had the wherewithal to throw it off of him to get the ball back. Offensive rebounds, which we talked about, crashing the boards. One of the few players that does crash the boards. Just a great game from him. Again, Clippers by 5. It was very close. It felt more like a 1-point game or 1-possession game at the end. Obviously, a couple fouls at the end is going to put us over there. But I'm really, really impressed with the Clippers. The Suns, I'm not really impressed with. I thought that they played pretty sloppy. Kevin Durant had a Kevin Durant game. I need more out of Devin Booker. I need him to be more of the captain on the floor, being able to penetrate, taking over that role when Chris Paul is on the bench as well. And I still got the Suns winning, and I still have the Suns coming out of that conference. But I think that there's definitely room for improvement there. But kudos to the Los Angeles Clippers for getting it done.
Yeah, nice W by the Clippers. I will say, I think this loss is completely on Monty Williams. In my opinion, the head coach of the Phoenix Suns. And I love Monty. He was a longtime Magic player. I always wanted him to be the coach of the Magic. And he's had tremendous success so far as a head coach in this league. I thought when we got it down to the nitty gritty, which we know every game is going to be, and I love the dynamic of, in theory, of having DeAndre Ayton and Chris Paul in a high pick and roll. But when there's 3 minutes left in the game and I get 8 possessions in a row and they are either Chris Paul with fadeaways in the paint or DeAndre Ayton with floaters, not even going, like barely going toward the rim, when you have Kevin Durant and you have Devin Booker on the team is completely inexcusable. The fact that they went that long without it was a 1-point game for like 2.5 minutes, dude, and they couldn't get a bucket in. LA comes down, they hit those huge threes at the very end as well. KD comes out, hits a big three, too. And then the very last minute of the game, to me, is where I was the most impressed. Russell Westbrook willed that victory out of them by the plays that he made. Now, let's say this about Russell Westbrook. He was 3 of 19 from the floor yesterday.
Donk.
He played 36 minutes and scored 9 points. All right, but what Russ did do, what he did do was
Those are Vukovic. Those are Vukovic numbers.
They are, and he had 11 rebounds, and 5 of those were offensive, and they were dominating them on the glass. And I don't understand this. When you're a big dude like that, DeAndre Ayton, dude, like you are the biggest guy on the court. Like put your butt into somebody's gut and box out. Get a rebound. You need a rebound, you know? Like just we look entire last minute without getting the ball back. Jeremy, what were your thoughts on it? The way it broke down. Did you get to see the very end of the game?
I did not get to see the end of the game. I've been just kind of reading about it, but I think one of the things they said that the big play was when Westbrook knocked the basketball from Devin Booker's hands and recovered it after it bounced off Booker. That really secured the game. And then the 2 free throws that he made at the end of 17 seconds, those were big.
Yeah, so Booker came down and went to go lay it up. Russ blocks it out of Booker's hands. Now they come down, they knock down the 2 free throws to make it the 5-point game that it was. So really great job. I don't know what to determine from this going forward, except for Monty, we got to be better in that last 3-minute like situation right there. And I was talking with one of our good friends, Frank Burgo, as well too, and he was telling me about how Chris Paul tends to do this a lot, where he goes through these things where a lot of people get. He's not the most liked guy in the league because sometimes he feels like it's all about him. And so maybe this was just another, there's a reason that you fail in the playoffs all the time. Maybe this was another factor of, him trying to do too much at the very end and really not doing anything at all. So tough one. We'll see. I know that game comes up. I think it's Wednesday as well too, right? Yeah, Wednesday as well.
Yeah, it's another Wednesday game. But Ty Lue did say, you never want to penalize a guy for missing shots, but you can penalize a guy for not playing hard. But he said, that's where Westbrook makes up, is he plays hard all the time, especially in the tunnels. He likes to play hard in the tunnels too.
Yeah, in the tunnels. Yeah, that was crazy. So did you see him? He went.
Don't be a keyboard warrior. I'm hearing your face. What's up?
Yeah, it was a very tough look. Son is literally sitting right next to him, and his son gets so shook that this is happening at the time that he literally has an entire steak, and the son doesn't cut the steak. He just goes to bite directly into the steak. It's actually pretty funny. So if you see that, definitely check it out. I know
it's the kid just turns around and goes,
yeah. And then I saw from a Suns fan who was there as well too, who said that actually he was right there, and the guy was just too drunk. He said some comments he shouldn't have, and Russ, held him accountable for it, which by all means, you have to. Now, I do know, going on and moving on from that game, the next game that we had were the Nuggets and the Timberwolves that we had that were played. And I know me and you got to watch pretty much this entire game because we were together watching it last night at the old watering hole. And, man, this was a tough game from start to finish, huh?
I mean, the Nuggets are the number 1 seed. I mean, that's still mind-blowing that they were the number 1 seed and they did all this. I mean, Djokovic, as I was joking with you last night, saying, he's just putting up stats. Just putting up stats, and that's what he was doing.
Yeah, I mean, he has a good game. To me, the key here, and I did admittedly, take Minnesota to win this series, which I know it's just one game. And if this score was 109, 108, you're still saying, oh, it's just one game, and that it kind of is what it is, right? But when I look at this and watching Rudy Gobert go minus 28 on his plus minus, right? Guy played 26 minutes, okay? 26 minutes and 8 points. You are the largest human on the court, right? And I thought between him and Towns, they'd be a lot better in terms of crashing the glass, getting rebounds. They weren't. They didn't play well.
We were both talking about this as we were watching this game live.
Yeah.
Like, how are they not getting rebounds? I thought another great thing that I just saw a stat that said, 6 different Nuggets, all 5 starters plus Bruce Brown had at least 13 points. I mean, and Jamal Murray, Chad, yes, Jamal Murray went off for 24 points in his first playoff game since 2020. So I mean, this was big. Like they showed like, hey, we're the number 1 seed for a reason. We're not, everyone wants to crown the Suns, or everybody wants to say the Warriors like we do. The Warriors, you can't watch without them. Nuggets are number 1 for a reason.
They are. I mean, I don't know. Listen, it was impressive, right? It was great. I mean, 37% field goal percentage for the Timberwolves. I don't know. I don't know where to go from here because I don't know how this is actually going to play out the rest of the way. I don't know if this is just a one-off. I need Anthony Edwards to be a little bit more aggressive, right? You're talking about 18 points from him. Karl Anthony Towns only has 11 on the night. Like, there's one guy that can guard both of you, Gobert and Towns, and that's Jokic. Other than that, they really don't have anybody. I mean, DeAndre Jordan's out there catching lobs on people's heads. It's just, what are we doing here, guys? Got to be a little bit better.
And Cat missed 10 of his first 12 shots. Okay, you are 7 feet tall. Okay, I understand that you sprouted from like a junior in high school to your senior year, and you used to be a guard. Listen, get down in there. You have you and Gobert. That's a 2-man game. Jokic can only cover 1, and we know he doesn't play great defense. Get in there, get inside the paint, and make some high percentage shots.
Yeah, you got to get more things attacking the rim. I feel like everything was on the perimeter. I don't know, just the game plan to me was off, and it was very frustrating to watch as somebody went on a limb and decided to put my hard-earned money with Colleen and his basketball team over here, and just such a disappointing performance.
Oh man, you took the kiss of death right there. Goodness.
I know, it's my fault.
But Jeff, do you think this is maybe a little not like let down, but with the whole game losing to the Lakers and then going and having to win that last game, is kind of like a little lull from Minnesota?
It could be a letdown. I mean, I'm not really sure. I feel like emotion plays a lot into basketball sometimes, right? We see teams go on huge runs and huge swings and everything, and I guess they could have. It's just a game where they came out flat, And unfortunately, in the NBA, if you come out flat, especially in the playoffs, you're going to lose by 30, and that's what happened here. So, tough look for them. And yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens tonight. Tonight's going to be an incredible night for basketball as well. I know we have 2 games in the books tonight. We're looking at what do we got?
Nets, Sixers, and Warriors, Kings.
Yeah, I mean, I listen. I love the Sixers here. Obviously, I think Philly wins. I think this could be, like I said, a gentleman's sweep. They're really good, dude. They're really, really good. And then when it comes to this Golden State game, 10 o'clock tip, TNT in Sacramento. That place is going to be rocking again. I see Golden State winning this game. What do you think?
I think Golden State wins. I saw in a little recap I was reading. I didn't get to watch the game. I didn't have a TV at my bar last night, so I didn't get to watch it. But one of the Golden State players said that this atmosphere was one of the loudest he'd heard in all NBA games this year, and he compared it to a college atmosphere. I mean, fans for the first time in 16 years getting to watch a playoff game. It's they were hyped. They were ready.
Yeah, we do have one local Kings fan at the watering hole, which is a Jam, who's always cheering for him, and he was really loud going into that game, and so excited for Kings fans. I don't know how long it'll last. Can De'Aaron Fox and Malik Monk repeat this? They could. I mean, it's not like they're not familiar with each other. Both Kentucky guards grew up playing together. Now they get a chance to go and do it on the main stage. Listen. Tyson mentioned Klay Thompson wanting a supermax. What do you think about that, Jeremy? I listen. I think Klay Thompson's a great shooting guard. I think he's historically one of the best in the NBA has ever seen. I don't know if he's past his prime. I don't know where they go from there in terms of paying Klay. What do you think?
I think with the 2 major injuries, with the knee and the Achilles, I think I couldn't. If I'm the GM, I can't give him a supermax. I say, Klay, you've done well. You've won rings. We appreciate it. I can give you upwards of a good amount, but I can't give a supermax to Clay. Not, I mean, he's how old is Clay? Jesus, Clay is
Tougher to produce and to talk, huh?
it is a little tougher, yeah, okay. But you make things happen. Clay Thompson, 1990, so he's 30, going to be 33 this year. So I
Yeah.
mean, it's I, he's had good years. I mean, yes, he's five-time All-Star, four-time champion. I Now, if you say best shooters of all time, I still think Steph's up there.
For
I don't.
sure. I think maybe the best shooting backcourts of all time.
Oh, absolutely. Those two together it's a cheat code.
What was the argument we were having with Frank yesterday about at power forward? Who would you rather have, Charles Barkley or Kevin Garnett?
Yes, that was it. Yeah, yeah. And with that, that's like saying, yeah, who would you want? I was just watching Jamal Crawford said, if you had Reggie Miller, Ray
Reggie
Allen,
Miller.
or Steph
Yeah.
Curry, if you had those three, who would you want taking the last shot?
Mm.
And Jamal Crawford said, I want Steph
I want Steph.
because he creates more offense without the ball than any other player in the NBA history.
Yeah, and Reggie wasn't great off the dribble either. Like as was Ray. They were both much more set shooters as well. I feel like Steph just creates so much. It's incredible.
It's unbelievable how much he has in his gas tank when you see him run around and chomping on his mouthpiece, and he just keeps going constantly. Like you can't stop him. Like I think another thing that Jamal said was really great was Steph gives 6'3" kids a fighting chance in the NBA because they all look at him now. And you watch kids. I'm probably watching at your kids' games. Do you have kids that are jacking it up as soon as they cross midcourt?
Literally, like I learned how to warm up in terms of it was layup, it was a step, it was one step back, then you shot another shot all the way to get back to the 3-point line, and then you can shoot a three. After that, these kids come out and the first thing they do is they dribble a basketball, and from half court the kids throwing the ball, trying to sink one, and I'm like, oh my god, what are we doing? We've lost all our ways when it comes to teaching fundamentals in basketball in certain aspects. It will be. Go ahead.
I was saying, speaking of that ritual, I watched before the game the other night. He comes in, he's one step from midcourt, makes it, gets a ball, takes another step, makes it, takes two steps, makes it, and he went 8 for 8 all the way until he goes into the lane and does that little teardrop, and he puts it 15 feet in the air, and it just goes right through the net, and he made every single one.
Well, that's his breakdown, right? So he has his warm up where he warms up to all the way around the key, all the way to the half court line, and then he breaks down all the way back in, which is what you're supposed to do. Hopefully kids can find that routine and follow it. I do think Draymond is going to be very interesting here. I feel like they need a little bit of an agitator. They need, Iguodala's not there anymore, or he's hurt right now, to play that like hard-nosed, lock-em-up defense. I feel like they need an agitator like that, and this is a situation where I think they need Draymond to step up and really charge some energy into this because they're fighting uphill battle right now, playing the Kings in Sacramento because of how much energy their fans are bringing. You know what I mean? So we'll be interested to see how Draymond reacts tonight. We definitely look forward to it. Should be good.
And it's an old thing. Like we're talking about the energy. Think about going into Golden State. Any of the last 10 years, going to Golden State to have to play a game, how electric the crowd is at the Oracle. That's what Sacramento's bringing. And I think this series, out of all series in the playoffs, is going to be the most interesting series. And it's a first round matchup. That's what's really cool. I mean, this game could be more watched. This could be more dissected than the finals.
Absolutely. And you're talking about Sacramento's had a great year this year. We'll see. I think me and you both are siding with the Warriors here and thinking that you don't poke the bear and they're going to bounce back, and it'll be an interesting few 3 or 4 games here going forward. But I do think this series is one of the more exciting ones, as well as, of course, the Suns and the Clippers. I think is going to go the distance as well, too. Anything else you got for me, Jer?
Looks like Jordan Poole doubtful for tonight. Wow. That's not good.
That is disconcerting, to say the least.
Yes.
Absolutely. So they definitely need Jordan Poole to step up. They need his offensive production. But it was good to have Wiggins back as well and see him out there. Very surprised first game back. They're just giving him the ball in the corner to make the game-winning 3. Trying to do some storybook stuff over there. But anyway. All right. Well, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Unfortunately, Tyson's having some connectivity issues, so we will get things squared away. We will be back on Wednesday. Full golf breakdown. Of course, Matthew Fitzpatrick did win this week. Going forward, we got a little bit of a different format going on with the Zurich coming up this week as well, too. So we'll talk to the boys about that, get a little bit of a recap, and then go through everything NBA playoff-wise. So we appreciate you tuning in. Make sure if you like the video, follow. You guys be blessed, stay safe, be great. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching us here on The Uninformed Fan.